Okay, so we all know the EU AI Act is a huge deal. I mean, it's one of the most ambitious attempts ever to put some real guardrails on artificial intelligence. But let's be real. How do you actually enforce a rule book that massive? How do you make sure AI systems are safe before they're out in the world? Well, a huge part of the answer lies in one single, powerful piece of this legislative puzzle, Article 84. And today, we're going to dig in and see exactly why it's the engine that's supposed to make this whole thing work.
Now, before we jump in, I want to be clear that this analysis was carried out under the scientific supervision of Professor Vihar Kiskinov. So what you're getting here isn't just headlines, it's a deep dive into the real academic and legal thinking behind this law.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off by introducing Article 84 itself. Then, we'll take a little trip back in time to see how it was actually built. We'll look at the big ideas that shaped it, what its core job is, and then we'll break down its two main functions, that's testing and advice. And finally, we'll zoom out and see how it all fits into the bigger picture of AI governance in Europe.
So, first things first, let's introduce Article 84 and unpack this term, Union AI Testing Support Structures. What on earth are they?
Okay, so what are these things? The easiest way to think about them is as organizations with two very distinct jobs. On one hand, they are the official inspectors, right? They're the ones who are going to put AI systems through rigorous testing to make sure they're actually following the rules. And on the other hand, they're the expert advisors, kind of like an independent brain trust that the EU's top brass can call on for unbiased scientific and technical advice.
But an idea this big didn't just pop up overnight. No way. To really get what Article 84 is all about, you've got to understand how it was hammered out over 2 really intense years of debates and negotiations.
The whole story kicks off in July 2022. The initial idea was pretty simple. Let's create union testing facilities. But fast forward to January 2024, and you can see the concept has gotten a lot bigger. The name changed to EU AI Testing Support Structures. And, this is key, their advisory role got a major boost. After a small name tweak in March, the final text was published in July 2024, locking it into law.
And this table really shows that evolution in action. Just look at the jump from July 2022 to January 2024. This was way more than just a name change. The lawmakers realized that a simple testing facility just wasn't going to cut it. They needed something with a much bigger scope, something with a direct line to the EU Commission to give advice. You could say this is where the article really got its teeth, going from just a quality check body to a strategic advisor.
So that brings us to the big why. What was really driving these changes? Let's take a look at the key themes that popped up during its evolution.
You know, in law, words are chosen very carefully. And the shift here from facilities to support structures is, well, it's huge. A facility is just a place, right? It's a building you go to. But a support structure, that's something that actively helps you, that holds things up. That one word change tells you everything about the shift in philosophy. This isn't just about policing AI anymore. It's about actively building and nurturing a healthy, responsible AI ecosystem.
So, if you put all these pieces together, a really clear picture starts to form. The lawmakers wanted these bodies to be so much more than just glorified testers. They wanted them to be influential advisors, to be flexible enough to keep pace with this crazy technology, and to work together across the entire EU. It was a clear move from a reactive, catch-the-bad-guys approach to a proactive, let's build this right approach to AI safety.
All right, so now that we've got the history lesson down, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the final text. What is the core job of these structures? The European Commission is really in the driver's seat here. It's their responsibility to pick and choose these structures, and they have to do it strategically, making sure they're spread out across the EU so that every single member state and every innovator can actually get access to them.
And listen, not just any organization can raise its hand and become one of these structures. The EU has set the bar incredibly high. You basically have to be a world-class expert, you have to be totally independent from corporate influence, you need to have some serious high-tech infrastructure, and, maybe most important of all, you've got to be nimble enough to adapt as fast as AI itself does.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into that dual function we mentioned. You can think of it as two main pillars holding the whole thing up: testing and advice. It's a really simple but powerful model, right? You've got compliance testing on one side and expert advice on the other. Let's break down what each of those pillars actually means in the real world.
So pillar number 1 is all about testing.
And we're not talking about just any AI. This is specifically for the high-risk stuff. Think about AI used in critical infrastructure or for biometric scanning. The testing methods are super rigorous, looking at whether a system is robust, if it's safe, and if it's free from dangerous biases. The results from these tests, they go straight to the enforcement authorities to help them keep the market safe.
Then you've got the second pillar, which is all about giving independent, objective advice. And this isn't just for anyone. This advice for the heavy hitters, the AI board, the commission, the national authorities. They'll be giving guidance on everything from how to reduce risks to how to assess brand new technologies. And there are super strict rules in place to make sure that advice is always impartial.
So, we've seen what they do, and we've seen how they came to be. Now for that final crucial piece of the puzzle. Where exactly do these structures fit in the grand scheme of AI governance in the EU?
Here's probably the simplest way to think about it. These structures are basically the EU's central quality control lab and its in-house expert consulting group for artificial intelligence all rolled into one.
And this really shows their central connecting role perfectly. They're not some isolated office sitting on its own. They are designed to be a hub. They are the link between the big EU institutions and the innovators actually building this stuff, especially the small businesses and startups who need that support the most.
The analysis we're drawing from really nails it with this quote. It says these structures are poised to play a key role in the implementation and enforcement of the AI Act. I mean, that pretty much sums it up, right? It shows just how vital these bodies are to the entire project of responsible AI in Europe.
So there you have it. Their framework is in place. The ambition is crystal clear. But it all really boils down to one massive question, doesn't it? Can these expert structures actually pull off that incredibly difficult balancing act between safety and speed? Can they help build trustworthy AI without slamming the brakes on the very innovation they're supposed to be supporting? That, my friends, is the billion-euro question, and it's the challenge that lies ahead.